Welcome back, gamers, raiders, traders, and everybody in between. King Tokes back with another video on Dungeon Hunters for you. So, getting right into it, what are we going to be going over today? Well, guys, I'm so glad you asked. We are going to be going over the auction realm, the auction hub. How do you get there? Well, first, you have to be level 60. The cap used to be 104, but they have changed it to level 60 to allow more people to come in and do the auctions. So jumping right in, as you see, kind of just went through the hub, like you would for your normal dungeons. There is also an area in the lobby where you can run through the little portal. That's not too much of an issue. So basically what you're going to want to do is traverse over to the auction house. There you'll be able to start trading across every server in Dungeon Hunters. Now, with that being said, some to-dos, not to-dos. 9 times out of 10, guys, if something sounds too good to be true, it is. So I highly recommend you download the Discord. How do you do that? Very simple, guys. Click over here, go over to rewards. This first reward over here basically gets you right into the Discord. Roblox does not allow you to type that in chat, so a lot of people may not know that it exists, so hopefully this helps those people out. So the Discord is an amazing channel, a lot of decent people in there, but things can get a little bit hazy when you're trading person to person instead of just using the hub in general. Why do I say that? Well, there are certain items in the game that are over max cap of keys. What is the max cap? Well, currently right now it's 199,999. You cannot go above that. Now, why are people selling stuff above that? Because of the rarity, because there's certain things that you can no longer get because it's not in season currently. What do I mean by that? Well, first, Flame Dash. That is a highly used skill, but because where it comes from is the Gauntlet, and the Gauntlet has 3 different seasons. That is one of the seasons. Now you're seeing some of these. Let's talk about the highest price. I mean, that's Flame Rider. That's not even Flame Dash. Is there any Flame Dashes? No, there's not even Flame Dashes on the market. What is Flame Dash? Well, let's take a look at my skills and go to Flame Dash. Where are you, Dash? Flame Dash. This is selling right now on the Discord server in the auction hall tab anywhere from 300 to 400,000 keys. Just kind of depends on the seller. So with that being said, how do you trade for something past max keys? Well, is if we go back into here and not cast a spell, anything that you sell in the market and once it sells just stays in this tab over here. So I sold a couple of Sinister Somnics, and the first part of it was put some things up, and then I sold the Sinister Somnic for a very affordable price, and all that stuff is in there. So I have keys just waiting for me for something I want to purchase later down the road. So that's how you bypass that. But let me break something down for you. So if you start trading person to person in that aspect via Discord or through the lobby, it is a very risky trade. 2 reasons why. 1, if the person that you're trading is not in the same auction hall as you are, once they post it, it takes 30 seconds for it to go across all servers. Now, if you're both in the same lobby, it's almost instantaneous. 2 is there are people that will just sit there, go the lowest price, and search and find something that shouldn't be at those prices. And then they'll buy it. It's called sniping. So when you are doing these trades with people through the Discord and throughout the lobbies, try not to do it for the minimum keys, which is 5. I typically recommend 100 keys or 1,000 keys, because as you can clearly see, there's a lot of different items. And if you start off at 100 keys, look at all the different items. So it'd be pretty hard for them to actually grab it without them doing a distinctive search for it. So there's that aspect. Another reason why I wanted to make this video for people is I hear all the time, how do I make keys? How do I make keys? How do I make keys? Well, there's two ways of really making keys. One, through dungeon farming and doing that repeatedly. Or two, selling and trading. Now, one thing I find with trading is it's a slower aspect than actually grinding dungeons, but a lot more lucrative. Why? Dungeons give you a certain set, per run, but you could also use key boosters. And it doubles the amount of keys. If you have alts that you can run through as well, okay, cool. I mean, it makes the grind less tedious. But what are some easy things to sell or look for on the market? Well, first and foremost, I tell people it kind of depends on where you're at in the stages of progression in the game. If you yourself are just level 150, still doing, the primordial gear for season 1, you want to get your gear. You want to get your stuff upgraded as much as you can. But when you start looking at the prices of some of these primordial items, you can make a killing. The only sad thing is it's grindy. So if you take a look, for instance, this might be a good one. If you already have 5 pieces of any type of primordial drop, it could be 160, it could be 155, and then you also have the 10 Maelstrom coins, you could make this Maelstrom ink shooter into a primordial, and I would never buy one for that at current value, but if you take a look, the most popular by far is the Maelstrom Coral Cutlass. You could easily sell it for 150, maybe even 125,000. That's quick. Now, one thing people need to understand, especially if they're new, is anytime you sell anything, say I put this at 100 keys, the total is 100. That's what the other player will pay. You will only receive 80. The auction house takes a 20% cut of everything that goes through there. So whatever you put on there, just know that you're only going to get 80% of what you're asking for. Now, that covered one aspect. Another aspect, skills. Skills are a hot commodity within the gauntlet. Now, when I'm educating people on how to make skills or how to make keys, I typically recommend skills because you can pull a lot of different skills from the main lobby there, and definitely make some profit there, but it's not going to be as lucrative as the gauntlet skills. So there's not even a flame dash on the market right now, as we can see, but if we go through the skills, look at the highest rarity, look at the highest price, you can't get a Balzarog horn right now because that is not in season with the gauntlet. So you can't obtain a Balzarog's horn until you either buy it off the market or it comes back in season. So currently stuff in season right now, Divine Intervention, that's why that's not insanely high price. Titan's Grasp is in there as well. So what I tell people is go farm Gauntlet. Even though you might not be able to get 7,000 keys per run, or 7,000 marks is what they're called, per run, you can still get enough to get some decent ones out of it and just hold on to it. And then when the Gauntlet ends in 20 days or so, Titan's Grasp is going to drastically go up through the roof. Divine Intervention is drastically going to go up through the roof. So a lot of these players, elite players, have already done this. They're already sitting on tons and tons of these to make profit. Skills, or not skills, pets. Pets is another huge one. You get pets through grinding dungeons, specific items from the shop that you can get. Sinister Pet. So Sinister Somnic, before this event happened, was selling for anywhere from 700,000 keys to 1 million keys. And again, with the way that I just explained to you, you can see how people can sell it for above the 199,999 keys. Thanksgiving chest, now we are going to be getting an update here soon. So with that, things can change. But pets is another huge one. Cosmetics. There's just so many different cosmetics that people be willing to buy from you and trade. Another good one is what's the most recent update. So we've had season 2. They came out with Dungeon 1 and Dungeon 2. So let's go look at Yuck Feathers real quick. So if you go to Yuck, change the rarity to highest, price lowest. I mean, for one Yuck Feather, and this is only a 1% chance of a drop, so it used to be a lot more lucrative. It isn't so much anymore, but you're looking at, well, I'm going to buy that. That was a good buy. But you're seeing prices vary all over the place from 1,500 all the way up to 24,000. I mean, so these can be very lucrative. Now, Yuck Feathers are the equivalent of the Maelstrom coins from the R3 dungeon, the Brackish raid. Same with Shattered Eyes. So let's go take a look at Shattered Eyes real quick. I typically seen, even when the update first kicked off, anywhere from 3,000 and up. They've drastically dropped now just because the event has kind of died down. But imagine it'll hit another revamp with the new update coming out later today. So things like this can really impact the keys that you make. Now, again, the highest key count is only 199,999. So if I were to try to open up 2 of these crates, I might hit that limit. And once you reach that limit, any excess keys that you have go away. That kind of covers that. Orion's Graves was another good one for a moment. So kind of going over all that, hopefully this explained the auction hunter a little bit, or the auction house a little bit better for the newer folks that are just getting into the auction. Just kind of keep in mind, guys, that again, if it sounds too good to be true, it more likely is. I highly recommend trading with people in the Discord. A lot of people in the Discord can verify people as either, hey, this is a scammer. I will be coming up with a list in the documents of noted scammers. So, guys, if you always did what you've always done, you always get what you've always gotten. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. And on a side note, we are going to be doing a giveaway, trying to get back into the content creation of everything. So we're going to be doing a giveaways. What is the giveaways? Well, it could be anything from Maelstrom raid gear, any type of raid gear, pets, stuff from Nightmares. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. So definitely hit that like, definitely hit that subscribe, share with your friends or potential people that might be joining the game in the community. Thanks for your time and have a good day.